Hey, hello. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Hope you're all doing really well out there. My name is Tobias, and on this channel I talk about music, so that's hopefully why you clicked on this one, because just like me, you're passionate about music. So on this channel I talk about the music that I grew up with in the 1980s, back when I was just a kid in Sweden. And nowadays living in the UK, and I'm still as passionate about music that I was back then when I was starting to discover music, really. So here I talk about old, new music, whatever, as long as it is something that I'm really passionate about and that I like, I'm going to talk about it here on my channel. And today it's a bit of a special episode for you guys. Not long ago I was invited to another musical YouTuber's channel called Jen's Addiction. And Jen, just like me, talks about the music that she's really passionate about, and from time to time also her passion for comics. So I went over there and we did an episode. It was real fun to record that. We were basically airing our grievances around different things, but if you haven't checked it out, go and do that. All the links will be down in the description of this video. So yeah, go and check out Jen's Addiction. She does wonderful stuff on her channel. So I said to her, well, why don't you come over to my channel and we'll do something fun? And we had a bunch of ideas, and I said, well, I would really like to do the best albums of 1985. According to us. I have to really emphasize this. If you watch this and you're like, I don't agree at all, don't get angry, because it's our choices, right? So if you have your own top 10 list, like we are doing in this episode, please put it down in the comment. I would love to see what some of your favorite albums from 1985 was, more specifically the top 10. So yeah, don't get angry with us and give us a thumbs down and some hatred in the comments. I won't tolerate that at all. Just take it in and say, well, I think they're wrong. Here you go. Here's my list. Do that instead. Yes. So I invited her and I said, let's do this, our individual top 10 albums of 1985, but it has to be albums that were in our collections or are in our collections, so we could show them and all of that. So that was the rule, basically. So yeah, that's what we did. A week ago, it was from the time that I was recording this, and I've been spending the whole week editing this one. It usually doesn't take that long, but for reasons, technical reasons, I have to say, I had a bit of a struggle because I was like, oh, it didn't turn out that well. I recorded this one on an old laptop with the camera built into it, which was the first mistake on my part. So, and the internet connection on my end wasn't that fantastic. I have to say, what we caught from Jen's side of things looks really good, I think, but yeah, bear this in mind. The quality isn't really up to 2025 standard here. And I'm actually seriously considering investing in a new webcam, have a different setup when I'm doing these kind of things, collaborations or interviews in the future. So yeah, please excuse the technical quality of this one, especially on my side, because from time to time my frame freezes up, and in times when I was actually happy and laughing, I look like... Another thing that I reflected on while I was editing this one is me looking a bit aloof, a bit nonchalant maybe, and the whole reason for that is I was looking at all, the levels that were coming in, that we sounded good, and I should just left that be. And that's a lesson for future interactions, future collaborations, really, because I shouldn't really mind that at all. It should just work on its own. So if I do look a bit aloof, is that the right word? Or a bit nonchalant at times, I'm not. I'm actually interacting there, but yeah, it could come off like that. And the only one I really have to apologize to is Jen. So I'm so sorry, Jen, but I had a really great time, and I really hope you had as well. Well, I know because we talked after this one. But yeah. Just so you know, I'm not really being nonchalant. It's just a lack of experience of doing collabs. So yeah. Yeah, so without any further ado, here we go. My wonderful talk with Jen from Jen's Addiction around our favorite albums from 1985. And here we are.
Hello, it's wonderful to see you. Thanks so much for having me on your channel. I'm so excited.
Thank you. And if you don't know it, I was actually a guest on Jen's channel not long ago. So if you haven't seen that video, please go and watch it.
Yeah.
So what are we here for today? Well, I already said it. We're going to go through our personal favorite records or albums, actually, from 1985, which happens to be in our collection. So we can't just take any album nilly-willy. It has to be in either of our collections, right?
Right. That's correct.
Yeah. And I don't know, because we had a discussion around this, if we're going to actually rank them, but we're probably going to tell you which ones are top favorites or something like that. So, but we're still going to start. Yeah, exactly. It's so hard. We spent, I think, a week now just contemplating what we're going to put up.
It changes every time.
Absolutely. And by the way, we haven't revealed to each other what we're going to show here. So we haven't revealed any lists at all. So yeah.
Secret.
Absolutely. And because this is live as well, I just have to caution you all, there might be some Swinglish going on in this video.
I think your Swinglish will be better than my English, probably.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about that, but you're very kind.
That's true. So hard to make your list?
Very, very hard. I rewrote that one several times this week. There's so many good albums from 1985, really, which happen to be in my collection. There are others as well, but I couldn't touch those. So,
I know.
Because that is the rules.
And there were a few that I thought about initially that then when I went to look them up, I was like, oh, I'm a year too late or I'm a year too early. Like everything.
That's
or
it.
Or a single ranked in the top 10 in 85, but the album was released in 84, something like that. So,
yeah.
I had to make a few course corrections.
Absolutely. That's what I encountered as well, because even if I have all my records on Discogs, of course, the ones that I bought in 1985 is going to turn up as 1985. But then I have some reissues as well, and they're never going to turn up as 1985. So, it's a hard one. But it was an interesting musical year, really, in 1985 as well, just as 1984 was a super interesting year, I think. But I just have some fun mentions here, and I do dare to mention them because I am pretty sure you don't have them on your top 10 list here. So I'm just going to kick it off, and please correct me if you need me to stop anywhere. But the great Baltimora had his album Living in the Background out in 1985. Do you know Baltimora?
I don't know. Yeah.
I don't have that in my collection. I do have Tarzan Boy, by the way, but we're not talking about singles now.
Yeah.
Then the great Eddie Murphy. The great Eddie Murphy also had an album out. How Could It Be?
Oh, is that when with My Girl Wants to Party All the Time?
Oh, did you have that on your top 10?
Not on my top 10, but now I'm thinking about it. It may be in the wall behind me.
Probably.
That's so funny.
And just a couple of others. USA for Africa, a big one, of course.
Oh.
The year after Band-Aid did Do They Know It's Christmas.
Right.
We are of the world. And the reason I'm including it here, it was actually the album title as well. So I never heard the album. I heard the song, but never the album.
Never listened to the album either. I think there was a 12-inch. I still have my 7-inch single, but I never, if there was an album, I have no clue.
There comes a time when we heed a certain call, when the world must come together as one.
So I had to add this in here. Just a day ago when I'm editing this, which is a week ago since we actually recorded this one, me and Jen, she contacted me and said, look what I found in my record collection. And she sent me these pictures. She found the album for We Are the World. And she said she laughed so hard because she was clueless about this being in her collection. I recognize this. I've been in this situation before as well, where I actually found records that I never thought were in my collection. I don't know what that says about me or someone else. Do we have too many records or selective memories or even bad memories? I'll let you be the judge. But I thought this was funny as well. Of course, did Jen. She laughed out loud, she said, when she found it. But hey, there it was. USA for Africa, We Are the World, the album.
We are the world.
And then, of course, to round things off, just a wonderful guy, David Hasselhoff.
Oh,
Night Rocker was the album.
Night Rocker. Was he on the cover with his car? With kids?
I don't know. But I found it a bit funny because I saw all these names when I looked up albums from 1985 just to remind me what great year it was. And some of these names popped up. And David Hasselhoff, of course, is a legend. He's really big in Germany, you know.
Yeah, that's what we hear. That's what, you know, when everybody talks here about him, I swear they have to say, well, he's really big in Germany.
Exactly.
I mean, he was big here, just not as a singer, you know.
There, he was really popular as singer. He actually stood on the Berlin Wall, or what was left of it in Berlin, and sang his wonderful hit song, Freedom.
Yeah. Oh, wow. I think I remember that image. Like maybe they showed it on MTV or something. I can see it, but I have to admit, I probably don't own that record.
No, I don't think. No, we don't own any of these records. I thought it was just fun to mention these because they were a bit quirky, odd ones. Really not odd ones, because I mean, USA for Africa was a really good project, and the Eddie Murphy one is actually a very catchy song. So the one Party All the Time. Yeah.
I can't think about that though without thinking of the Dave Chappelle show where Eddie Murphy's brother talks about meeting Rick James.
Yeah, exactly.
Rick James produced that record, right?
He did. Yeah.
Yeah. And he's in the video. Yeah, it's so funny.
Absolutely bonkers. Okay, so yeah, we established that 1985 was a great year, and now we're going to show it. So I want you to kick things off with your number 10 of the greatest albums of 1985.
And I did try to rank these. So if I'm in complete honesty, 10 to 1 was my last ranking.
Yeah.
But so I'll probably change my mind. But so this one, I have to say, I remember buying it. I remember listening to it all the time. This is my copy. And I can never say enough good things about Grace Jones. And Slave to the Rhythm is my absolute. I mean, it's just everything about it is amazing. And it's kind of an art album. I mean, the spoken word and the actors that are on it. And just, I don't know, there's just everything about it. I think I get chills just thinking about it. I can hear it in my head right now, but that's my number 10 because I love Grace Jones.
That is a great number 10. I do agree. It's such a great album, and it's actually more or less the same song all over and over again in different variations, but it still holds together so well because it's such a great composition. So
I knew Trevor Horn had produced it. I was trying to remember who the name of the actor who does the narration on the beginning. Do you remember?
A few moments later.
It was Ian McShane.
Thank you. Thank you. I knew it. Gosh darn. And I just
I totally forgot about it as well because I had it on the tip of my tongue, but I was like, "Ooh, who is this?" Yeah, of course it is.
yeah. So I really, when I hear his voice, I think about this record. When I watch him act, I think about this record. So, but you're right. It's basically the same song over and over, but it's such a powerful sound. I love that. It's so rhythmic. It's everything I love in an album. And it's Grace. So what can you say?
Absolutely. And yeah, it's absolutely so cleverly done with the production because, like I say, of course, it is the same song in different variations, but they did it in such a way so you're absolutely encapsulated by the sound from the start to finish because it's a journey, really.
And there's definite parts of this record that remind me of, when you listen to Frankie Goes to Hollywood and it has that atmospheric, like the jungle and the sound. And I always felt this record was a lot like that in many ways. Like it had that very atmospheric, if you listen to it with headphones on, it would just kind of take you from one place to another mentally, visually. So I don't know. I love it.
Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Grace Jones, slave to the rhythm.
So there you go. My 10. Did you pick the same one?
Great choice. Well, I can't really disclose because I'm going to start with my number 10, which is not Grace Jones. It is a group who just the previous year released a really great album, in my opinion. I've been a big fan ever since they released their hit single in, was it 1982? I'm, of course, talking about Madness. This is their 19... Yeah, it's really good one. It's called Mad Not Mad. So the founding member, Mike Barson, who played keyboards, he had left the band at this point. So this was the remaining 6 members who did this one. But I think it's the Madness album that I return to the most. Yeah. I got all of their albums, but the one that I play the most is Mad Not Mad. And I love this one when it came out, still do. It's got some great singles on it. The first single that was released from it was Yesterday's Men. So in a way, because I don't think I reflected on it back in 1985, but listening back to it now, it is about getting older. The whole album, really. And there's a lot of political critique in it as well. So it's a quite interesting album, lyrically wise, and musically, it's absolutely outstanding. It's a great album from Madness.
I don't think you can go wrong with Madness. I mean, that whole era of all of their albums, that genre of music, I'm a big fan of ska, and to me, nobody does it better. I mean, their energy was unmatched. Still, they're still making music, right?
Yeah, they're still touring, actually. I think they were in the States just recently, actually, for a small tour.
Yeah,
so they have fans all over the world.
They're awesome. That's a great. I don't have that record. I have some of their first ones and some of the compilations with them and other bands, like the specials, things like that. But that's a winner. Now something else to look for.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's also by the time, I think from the previous album, which was called Keep Moving, they became the more serious Madness. They weren't that nutty boys anymore. So it's a bit more serious take on things. But of course, there are some quirky bits there to remind us of how nutty they really are. So, yeah.
They were great.
I'm thinking of Uncle Sam was one of the singles, which is really funny.
But I'm sailing across the sea to see my Uncle Sam.
I just watched a couple months ago. We watched it was a documentary on Madness. I think it's on Amazon Prime or something like that. But it was really good.
Oh yeah, I have to catch that one then.
Look, if I find it before you find it, I'll send you the info on it. But it's, as a fan, you'll appreciate it. And it definitely gave me a whole new perspective on them that I never even knew. I like them even more now than I ever did. This one was my 9. I have a lot of memories associated with this album. When I drop the needle on this album, I am catapulted like back to the past. And I was lucky enough to see them for this tour for this album, and that was OMD's Crush.
Oh yeah.
I mean, and
what a great cover.
I know, right?
The cover design. It's really good.
Yeah, it's the painting from, oh my gosh, is that Hawking's, Nighthawks is the name of it's a hopper.
Okay.
I think that's them at the top.
Yeah.
And I think the original painting for this, I believe, I thought it was in the Art Institute of Chicago. So, but some of his work is there. But yeah, it's a wonderful record cover. The image is great. I have to say my favorite songs aren't the ones that were played on the radio, probably. Like Woman Number 3, I love. 88 Seconds is like, I love that. And then Native Daughters of the Golden West is so good. But I think the imagery in some of the lyrics, it's definitely has like kind of Americana spin to it. Now that I can sit back and really think about it maybe a little more and put it in some kind of context. But man, what a great record. I mean, I love all their stuff, but this one has that sound that just, I'm like 16 all over again every time I hear it.
And I don't think I ever heard this whole album. I need to check this one out. I really like OMD, but for some reason, I do remember seeing this album at some point, but I never heard the whole one. Really good pick.
Yeah, thank you. And I mean, So in Love is great. I mean, but I think there's so many other records there, songs off this album that are even so much better. So
yeah.
Yes, you need to listen to this one. I'm going to
I really do.
You make me sad, you make me glad. And now you see all my secrets is love.
What is my number 9? Well, we'll stay in the UK and we go with Prefab Sprout and Steve McQueen.
Wow.
At the time in 1985, I wasn't listening to Prefab Sprout. I had no clue who they were, really. It's a group that I discovered, I think it was in 1988 when they released King of Rock and Roll.
Yeah.
And from that point on, I started to get more interested in them. But it wasn't until mid-90s, late 90s perhaps, where I actually picked up on the greatness of Prefab Sprout. It is pop perfection, really. Yeah. It is nostalgic, and Paddy McAloon, who was the singer and the main writer for the band. I hope I pronounced his name right here. But anyhow, what a songwriter and what a voice. This is pure peak pop, really, in my opinion. Such a great one with great songs like Fair and Young, Bonnie, Appetite, When Love Breaks Down. I could go on. The whole album is solid. And I said at one point, just recently in one of my videos, all albums have the mid-track, something that's not really to your liking or whatever. But this one, solid one. So I'll take that back. It's a great album.
I feel like I've heard stuff off of that record, but it's not connecting. Like I'm sure, because I know them. Again, like you said, not a band I always gravitated toward, but I do remember their presence and their popularity in certain areas, and definitely one I need to reinvestigate. That's a cool album cover. It is.
It's a really good one.
Is that your copy?
Yeah, it is, and I still got the price sticker here. From HMV. It was $4.99.
Wow. And I did say, I was mentioning that this one is mine, the Grace Jones is mine. I've tried to, if there's one that is my original, I've been trying to point it out, but I forgot on that last one. So that's pretty cool.
And I have to point out as well, this was the original price. I probably paid a bit more for this one because I bought it in the 90s. So whoever owned this before bought it at HMV. Yeah. But I actually kept this on because it's a bit nostalgic. So
heck yeah. I too. That's great.
But great album.
When love breaks down, the things you do to stop
Well, this next one, I would probably change. It could change. It's been changed in order multiple times. But I suppose it's kind of good. I feel like I'm getting three bands in one when I pick this one, but this is iconic to me for so many reasons. And that's Power Station.
Of course. Yes. And you got the T-shirt to show for it.
Yes, my tour shirt. And it's got, Robert Palmer did not go on tour with them because he was doing his album.
Oh, yeah.
And
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so it was Michael DeBar. Can you see the picture at the back?
Of course.
Yeah. Which they did a live version of Obsession when they toured because he wrote that song. So that was pretty cool. But man, what a great album. I'm a huge Chic fan. So Tony Thompson of Chic. I'm a huge Robert Palmer fan. The fact that Andy and John Taylor got to kind of sow their musical oats and get funky was pretty awesome. Their covers were great. I mean, you get to hear Andy sing on this one. So that was a first, really, like as a solo artist. But for a record that was supposed to be a collaboration with multiple singers that turned into just Robert Palmer, I mean, geez.
So I have to ask you, Jen, then, because I know at this point in time, Duran Duran said we're going to have a bit of a hiatus, so they formed Power Station, and I see that you have the Arcadia record as well behind you.
Yeah.
So you favor the Power Station?
I, you know what? And I, as a huge Duran Duran fan, I was excited about this project. Right. As a Duran Duran fan, I was crushed that they were parting ways, but I was hopeful that they would get back together. Right. And I knew that A View to a Kill, like there was some kind of James Bond, something happening. Right. I thought, well, maybe they would get back together. But then when Arcadia came out, I was like, I hate you guys so much. Like, I was so mad.
What's that? Yeah.
And I would say that this, my favorite Duran Duran member was always Nick Rhodes. People would think this would have been my favorite.
That's what I thought as well. But no.
Yeah. No.
So you went with your musical senses instead, because that was what I was alluding to. Because a lot of my friends at school, the girls in my class, for example, that were huge Duran Duran fans, they went separate ways at this point because they were like, oh no, my favorite is Simon or Nick. So they went for Arcadia, and some of them went for Power Station. So I was just wondering if it was the same decision for you, but I got my answer. You went with the musical senses.
And it's more my style, like that time. I was just starting bass lessons, and Bernard Edwards was my bass hero always. I always wanted to play bass like Bernard Edwards. And he produces this record. It's like, you can't get much better than that. I mean, to me, so any kind of Chic connection is always a win. So it's got everything on it that I was just in love with this record for sure. It's just, I don't know.
Good production, I think. I don't have that one in my collection, but I do have the Arcadia one still. I was more of an Arcadia fan, but I did appreciate what the Power Station did as well, especially with a different voice, of course, because listening to Arcadia, it might well be a Duran Duran album. Because Simon is singing, right? So, but Power Station was a bit different. They upped the ante. It's rockier and all of that.
And I've always said, to me, Brian Ferry and Robert Palmer, to me, are what Sinatra, Elvis were to other eras. Like, those guys have that voice. They're like my favorite singers, probably of that era. And so I just, it was like a super group. And I was upset when he didn't tour with them, but I did get to see him when he did the Riptide tour. So I got to see the Addicted to Love tour. Wow. So that was cool. Yeah. So I feel like I got to see him, but, would have been really cool.
Yeah. Exactly. Well, you got another great singer doing the show with Power Station. So
he did good. You did good.
And great that you kept the T-shirt, by the way, because I looked for 80s T-shirts as well. The only thing I could find was this reproduction Kiss T-shirt. I'm not really a huge Kiss fan either, but hey.
But as I said, most of my concert shirts probably got shredded in the washing machine, and I have a picture of me with some terrible 80s hair sporting this shirt. I can tell you that. I think I told you earlier, I pulled out my swatch. These were all my bracelets I collected as a teenager. So
yeah, it's just amazing that you still have some of these things left. I wish I had more.
Yes. I'm happy to share.
My number 8. Well, once again, I have to remind the viewing audience here that it's really difficult for me to rank these ones. Yeah. But they're all my favorites. But in number 8, I decided to go with this one.
Yes.
This is, of course, Prince and the Revolution and Around the World in a Day. Was it a short that I did just a while ago? I can't even remember now.
Yes,
but it was a short where actually the dice picked this one for me. So I'm just going to be really short here and say I didn't like this album particular when it came out. I did like the singles, Raspberry Beret, Pop Life, Paisley Park. But when I bought the album, I was like, oof, this is not Purple Rain. Of course it's not, because Prince was always 10 steps ahead, even of him. Yeah, so, but over the years, it just grown on me, and it's now my favorite album by Prince, for sure.
Yeah. And, that was one, I always joke, I had such an attitude as a teenager. Like, if you did something different, I was just like, oh, no. So when I did not care for Raspberry Beret, that was my least favorite Prince song. And then I was like, oh, that's it. I'm done. So I have it. And and that's part of the reason I didn't rank it on my list, was because even though I had that one, I've never liked Raspberry Beret. I have the 12-inch single. I guess I'm a Prince completist, but I appreciate it more now than I did as a teenager. I can tell you that much.
No, I think this is an album that grows on you, really. I heard this from so many other people our age growing up with this. Yeah. But what I found really fascinating at the time was looking at this cover, because every single person or thing on this cover actually represents a song.
Oh, really?
On the album, yeah.
I guess I never knew that.
Of course, the Gatefolds who got the ladder.
Yeah.
And on the back, America, that's the boy with American flag. And Raspberry Beret, Pop Life, I think that should symbolize, because she was on the Pop Life cover single kind of thing. And we can go on and on. And then, of course, we have the Revolution here as well, and Prince.
Now, did you still have the perforated, there's a perforated little fold on it? Do you still have your, there you go. Very good.
Still intact.
That's cool.
And then, of course, we got all the lyrics here. So, and tambourine and all of it. It's all here on the cover. I was really mesmerized by this one at the time. It's awesome. A bit of a psychedelia twist to some of it. It's very out there. And I wasn't really used to that sound when it came out. But like I said, it's just a grower. And it's an absolute fantastic album.
Teacher, why won't Jimmy pledge allegiance?
I do appreciate it a lot more than I used to. I can. As a Prince fan, I always felt kind of bad. I was like, oh.
Yeah, me too. And I remember when, now that you said it, I was at a party at the time in 1985 when it came out, and there was this girl there that I was really interested in. And it turns out she was a big Prince fan as well. So I talked really warmly about Purple Rain and how good that era was and how crappy A World in a Day was, because, basically. And she was like, I love Around the World in a Day. So, never went anywhere with that one.
No. That's so funny.
Was a clash straight away.
I need to reinvest time and really conscientiously like listen, I guess, better, like really, really give it a good listen. They do.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. This next one, I love this band so much. It's so different than a lot of things you and I gel on. But I cannot
David
tell you.
Hasselhoff.
No, it is not David Hasselhoff. They might do a song about David Hasselhoff, he probably is in their song lyrics somewhere. No song on this album. Let's see. The longest song I think is 2 minutes, 10 seconds, maybe. The shortest song is 56 seconds. But this,
I'm intrigued.
Dead Milkman's Big Lizard in My Backyard.
Yes. I remember now, you put up a picture of that one on your Instagram not long ago. And I was like, what is this?
Yeah, it is. It's great. I've got it's funny. You probably can't see this. It says 85 on the price tag, which is the year. And it was $8.99.
There you go.
It is just, I don't know. This changed how I thought about music. I do enjoy punk music and post-punk a lot, but early punk and what I considered the ground base of a lot of it. Not so much the hardcore scene as much, but this to me is just like in that genre, like bringing it back. You know, they kind of tapped into things that were great about the 70s punk movement and tailor it. I mean, very political. All their albums are very political, but I love every record they've put out. But this is by far, I can listen to this. I taught my son songs when he was a little kid, and we still sing songs together today. Like, I don't know. It makes me smile. I cannot not love this album.
Another one that I need to listen to, because like I said, I remember when you put up a picture of that and I was like, what is this? I need to look into it. But I haven't done it. But now I'm going to do this.
Well, it's not a huge time commitment. I mean, like I said, the songs are not very long. But that's kind of it in the back.
Wow.
Yeah. So they are quite I have a lot of stories about the Dead Milkmen, but that's for another day.
Dead Milkmen.
There you go.
Great name for a group as well.
I believe in all that TV crap. I believe in swordfish. Hey, who's that swordfish?
Okay, so I got my number 7 here, and now we're going to go over to Denmark. And this is Elisabeth, or Elizabeth in English. A Danish singer, which I heard for the first time in 1985 with a single she had out at the time, because I grew up in the southern parts of Sweden, so we were very close to Denmark. So we also got the Danish TV channels, and it was one of the Danish pop programs that they had, that they played this single called En Sømand som dig. That's the Danish title. A Sailor Like You, roughly translated.
Okay.
So I thought that was a great single, and I couldn't find that single in Sweden anywhere when I went out shopping for singles, but it was always there on a videotape because I taped that show. So I usually, I probably taped it off on one of my mixtapes as well from the TV. She had released 2 albums at that time, so it was her 3rd album. And I read a review of that one in the Swedish newspaper. I was like, oh, I remember Elisabeth. So I will go and listen to it. So I picked it up, and it was an album called Sotto Voce.
Sotto Voce.
A great album. Really nothing that I would listen to at that point in time, because it was more pop rock, really, than anything else. Yeah. And but I was sold. I love that album. So I went hunting for her earlier records, and I came across this one. This is her debut record called Elisabeth. Pure and simple. Cool. Self-titled.
I like the cover.
It's a really 80s cover, but really nice, nicely done. monochrome, and then she's in yellow there. So, or actually, it's pink, but yeah.
Yeah, it has like that kind of cool tone to it. Does she sing in Danish, or she sing in English or Danish?
No, it's Danish, and that's the thing, because this album, you could classify it as new wave, really.
Yeah.
So that's where actually the single that I was talking about, En Sjöman som dig, was that really caught my ear, because it's got that synth-driven sound to it. And I really don't know how to summarize this, but she's a great, great singer. Great songwriter. She writes about observations, really. She's like the Danish equivalent to Susanne Vega.
Oh, okay.
It's not the same kind of music, of course, but, lyrically wise, she talks about what she's seeing, and sometimes it goes into the absurd or fantasy realms. So, and all of a sudden we're back in the reality again. A rainy street in a small Danish town, for example.
So, is she like Kate Bush?
No, not really. I would say it's really hard to compare her with anything, I would say. Like I said, I love her lyrics, and me growing up in the southern part of Sweden, I do understand Danish as well, so I could follow the lyrics. Yeah. And I know it's a bit awkward here because I got mostly English-speaking audiences here, but I couldn't leave this one out. I got all her records now in my record collection. I hunted them down over the years. So
that's awesome.
It's a really good one. I would love to talk more about her, but I think that's the best summary I could do. She's really a poet, and the music in combination with her lyrics, it's just magic. Really, it's all I can say.
Is she still popular in Denmark? Like, is it still like? Is she? I don't want to say relevant, but you know what I mean. Like, still kind of a staple musically there.
I would say most people would probably know Elisabeth. Unfortunately, I think this was in 2021. I should have looked this one up, but I think it was 2021. I hadn't listened to Elisabeth for a while, so I pulled one of her records from my record collection, and I started listening to it. I was like, oh yeah, so good. So I was like, I wonder what she is doing nowadays, because she hadn't released an album for a couple of years. I looked it up, and I found out that she passed away.
Oh, no.
And it was the same year or the year before. I can't really remember. Like I said, I should have looked it up, but I can put it here on the screen if I remember. And I was devastated. I was like, oh. But I was devastated. Such a talented artist. All of her records are really, really great. And she also recorded a lot of children's records as well. She was very close to, doing children's songs and things like that. And they are actually really good as well. So,
is she on Spotify?
Yeah, they are on Spotify. So you just search for Elisabeth, and this is a good way to start with her new wave era. And then she went into new wave pop rock after that with her second album, and then it would become more pop rock as we went along. But always interesting productions, and certainly interesting lyrics. And I know, once again, it's Danish, but hey-ho.
Well, and that never deters me. I mean, I think about bands like even the Cocteau Twins. I can't tell you probably much of what they're actually singing.
No.
That's the phenomenon. I mean, it doesn't matter.
No, exactly. No, as long as you enjoy the music and the tone of the voice, for example,
Right. Oh, absolutely. I think so. Well, and it's absolutely somebody I would never know otherwise. So that's an 80s find.
Exactly.
The more you know. This record is my 6, is definitely one that could go higher in the ranking. I guess it depends on the day of the week. And I will say, I forgot to mention, people who know the Dead Milkmen will know, they reissue this album later with 2 songs on it that never appear on the track list. So there's a song called, there's 1 song on each side. And when you get the CD, they're listed, but they're not listed on the record. My number 6 record is also a record with a secret song that is not listed until you play it. And then you are blown away because it's so awesome. So it is The Smiths' Meat is Murder is my number 6. Did you know what one I had?
No, I couldn't guess it, but now that you showed it, I was like, of course it is, yeah. With a hidden track or, yeah.
How Soon Is Now, which I did read Morrissey's biography. It's big, but it's really good. And he talks at length about how Rough Trade did not want them to record How Soon Is Now. So I often wonder if that's why you don't know it's on here, because they didn't want anybody to know.
No.
Perhaps that's it. I don't know. But that's just classic to me. I love the Smiths. And I really remember I had a Walkman and I would make my own tapes, and all the ones I play. But I remember this on a cassette tape in my ear in school, just doing my artwork or whatever, being a moody teenager and listening to the Smiths. So I love that. Really, there's so much on here. A lot of these records I picked in part 2 because I could listen to them front to back and not find songs that I don't want to hear. I mean, I have my favorites, but I just think it's good start to finish. So classic.
It's a good one. Yeah. And you know what? That would be right up my alley in 1985, but I didn't really discover the Smiths until way, way later into the 90s, actually. Once again, really weird. I did pick up the single Panic they released the year after in 1986. I love that one, but for some reason I never stuck to the Smiths. So, but that is and I wish I had picked them up at the time, but better late than never.
I know, and I had all their records, and I had merged an album collection with someone I had dated, and when we amicably split, some records went one way and some went another, so I lost the custody battle of the records.
Custody battle,
this is not my original copy. I had to get another one, but but it's so
it is
good.
A great one. It is a good one.
Yeah.
Can I ask you which is your favorite Smiths album then? I know that's not that many, but...
The Queen is Dead. The Queen is Dead.
Of course, yes.
Absolutely. Yay! Queen is Dead is my favorite. It's just the imagery. I get goosebumps. I just like the imagery of that record. Everything about it is just, certain things you listen to, like Joy Division's like that for me. Couple of these other records that are on my list. So I listen to them, and that is the sound of that era to me. It's everything that I love about the 80s. It wrapped up in this little package.
Yeah.
That's definitely all of the Smiths, really, but that Queen is Dead is pretty darn good.
It's something else. But I do agree. Meat is Murder is up there as well.
I wish I could. But that joke isn't funny anymore. It's too close to home and it's too near the bone. It's too close to home and it's too near the bone.
So what's your 6? I guess it's not Meat is Murder.
No, it's not. It is Propaganda and The Secret Wish, of course.
Yeah.
I was really in love with the singles they released this year as well in 1985. And I never got hold of this album until very late in November of 1985, because I remember it was winter in Sweden when I got this one. I got hold of the remix album before I got hold of this one, which was called Wishful Thinking. And I was like, yes, this is the album, because back in those days, I didn't know what the album looked like, really, or yeah, whatever. So I found a Propaganda album in a local record shop. So I picked it up and I was like, yes, now I'm going to go home, listen to P Machinery and Duel. And I listened to it. I was like, there's hardly any voices in this. It sounds really weird. Why have they done this? And then I realized after a while that this is probably a remix or something like that, which it was, of course.
It was.
So eventually I picked up the right one. And this is, once again, a magical record to me. It's got great things on it, like Dr. Mabuse, of course, all the singles they released. But I think the strength of it lies in the other material, like Dream Within a Dream. That is the standout track on this one. It is really a dream within a dream. Just listen to that whole track, turn off the lights, and just lie there listening or sit there listening in this dark room to this track, and you will be transported to another universe, really. It's such a great one.
And the songs that you mentioned of theirs that I know I always appreciated, but I've never owned an LP. I look for them now after watching your channel and your reviews about them, and especially when you were talking about them, I think was at Record Store Day this year.
Yeah.
And so
Machinery.
And that was one I don't believe was in the States either for Record Store Days. But I need to listen to more of them. I always like what I hear, and it's probably going to be a challenge to find their records, but I'm trying to not just buy online. I'm trying to find them, like, hopefully when I go to stores. That's kind of the fun. But I'm sure eventually if I don't, I'm going to give up and just...
Yeah, exactly.
Go to eBay and buy one.
so you never listened to this whole album?
No.
No. Highly recommend it. And I have to say another thing, because I forgot that when you showed your Grace Jones records, which is also Sanctum Tam related. Yeah. It was released on Sanctum Tam and Island Records, I think. Yeah. With this one, if you buy the vinyl version of it, it's slightly different from the CD version.
See?
Sanctum Tam, once again, you could never trust them when it came to different versions. So when they decided to release this one on CD and other albums on Sanctum Tam as well, that famous independent label, I think Trevor Horn and Steve Lipson in this case, they decided, well, we're going to do a unique mix for CDs, because they realized the mastering and the mixing was different from doing a vinyl to a CD. Right. Or they just thought it was fun. I don't know. But they are quite different.
I wonder if they did that to get people who own the record to buy the CD, like, so that you wouldn't think, like, I don't need it, right?
Could be. You never know. Yeah. But there are people more informed than me, but I always found that being a bit of a jungle, hunting down records from Sanctum Tam, because I have quite a lot in my collection. But it's I still come across things today and I'm like, oh, really? Okay. Yeah, but if you do listen to the CD and then listen back to this one, you can hear some differences, especially in the track Dream Within a Dream, for example. So
okay. Yeah, well, I need to, that's one I have to listen to. I mean, I know you talk about them so passionately, and I've just never been immersed to know, what's going on. So I think everything I listen to, I like, though. So why have I think it's probably just the availability, of having it. If it was difficult for you to find, it was probably super hard for me to find.
Yeah, probably, because they weren't that big, if they were big at all in the States. Right. I don't know. But start with streaming and listen to some Propaganda.
I will.
That's the only thing they're allowed to listen to in North Korea,
Oh, is it? Is really?
Propaganda.
That's true. You totally got me with that. Okay, so this is this record. Oh my gosh, I can't think of enough good things to say. I like this record start to finish. there's a couple of songs, one in particular on here that reminds me of this person's previous band. And he being one of the principal songwriters, it makes sense. But I love Brian Ferry's Boys and Girls.
Of course.
Oh my gosh, The Chosen One is such a great song. I mean, I was just sitting here kind of trying to think of the list. I mean, I Don't Stop the Dance is, I mean, everything, I don't know. It's so good. Everything on here is good. I mean, it just sets a mood. I think you have to listen to one after the other. Stone Woman is so pretty. I mean, it's just, I think it's a master album.
Yeah. It's a really good one. It's been a while since it's a reversed one, right? So yeah.
Yeah. And it is upside down. I like this side.
Yeah, I like both sides. Great cover design there. And it did have the big hit single on it as well, right?
Yeah, it starts with Sensation. It goes into Slave to Love.
Yeah.
Don't Stop the Dance, I think, is after that. And that's just on side one.
Yeah, exactly.
And I can't remember the song. I think it's on Avalon. But his song, The Chosen One, sounds really similar to a song on Avalon. There's just, you could almost lay them over the top of each other. And I really wish I could remember what it was now, but I'm so terrible that way. But I love that song too. And I'm a huge Roxy Music fan. So full disclosure, but again, I don't think there's much he's put out. And of course he has a new album out now, which is very different than a lot of things he's had before. But this, to me, if anybody asked me what Brian Ferry album should I buy, that would be it.
I think you're absolutely right. That is another album I need to revisit. It's been quite a while since I listened to it, but I do remember it being really good.
Yeah. I remember even as a teenager being like, I need to listen to something else, because I just listened to it all the time. And there was a few songs I used to make repetitive tapes where it was like one song like over and over and over again for 45 minutes on one side.
Yeah.
And I did that a few times with some of these songs. Chosen One was definitely one of them. Not the most popular. I mean, they're all so good, but I don't know. I always tend to like the off song, the one that wasn't the top 10 hit.
Yeah.
But there you go. And the record
didn't get overplayed.
Cool. I mean, the label was even, decorated on it, which I thought was, I don't know why I never paid attention to that as a kid.
And that's a nice inner sleeve as well.
Yeah, very nice. It's, there's a lot going on. They don't have it's not every lyric on there, but man, I mean, I can't even go through the list of musicians that are on this record, but it's basically like Roxy Music is on here, and it's just huge. Yeah, you could be dizzy trying to read everybody that played on this record.
The storm is breaking, so it seems, with the young reason to grown up to dream.
With my next choice, we'll go back to the UK, and this is a CD that I bought, I think the year after 1986, because I didn't have a CD player until 1986, if I'm not misremembering things. But this is the one. This is Big Audio Dynamite, and this is Big Audio Dynamite.
Yeah.
Yes. So this was, of course, was Mick Jones who started Big Audio Dynamite, and it was so far ahead of times, really. I remember listening to this one for the first time. I still remember it vividly the first time I listened to it. I was like, what is this? And they had great melodies, great lyrics. All of it was good, and it was sample heavy. It was very much... I think they were at least 2 or 3 years ahead of their time when it came to the music.
And don't you think if you listen to like early Clash or Combat Rock, there's elements of Big Audio Dynamite. You can definitely tell probably more so than who wrote what or who was influencing what, because I think that the things that he loved, he showcased in the Clash and then just carried it over
Yeah. And let me tell you, listening back to this one again, it's one of those records I listened to so much throughout the years, but it's been a while since I listened to it. But as soon as I started up, and I was like, yes, this one, because I think I need a new copy soon of it, to be honest. It's been through a lot, this one. But it's got great tracks like Medicine Show, E equals MC squared, Sony, what else did we have? A Party, and there's so many good. Bad, of course, the closing track. It's so good. And just imagine The Clash the same year released Cut the Crap, the album, which was filled of drum machines, and it's just a mess, really, in my opinion, at least. So.
Very that probably is more what you want from the Clash than the Clash.
Absolutely. If Clash were to evolve the right way, that would be big audio dynamite, for sure.
Oh, in India, we're all the rage. Discovered that it's great as aftershave.
This next one probably should be of no surprise. And if anybody's watched my channel, they know I talked at length about this record. Because I said it is the 80s to me. And that was Aha.
Yes.
Again, start to finish, every song, I cannot, I just start playing it and I'm like, oh, I like that one. I like that one. And I turn it up louder and louder and louder, and I just can't stop. So it's a win.
No, it's a really good one. I love that record as well.
Me too. I think,
like you said, there's not a bad song on it, really.
No. I need a new copy. I think mine has a warp in it. So
yeah.
Sometimes the sun always shines on TV is a little, it's like I'm trying to do a special mix, and I don't mean to. But gosh darn it, it's so good.
It is a good one.
I love it.
You bought the RSD, the demos of the whole album as well.
So good. And I know they had other demos on other records, and I thought they were the same demos. Maybe they'd released in other ways. But then somebody had emailed me and said, no, they thought it was all new demos that had not been released. So I just know they had done demos on CD collections that were never available on vinyl. And so that's kind of what I assumed that was. But whatever way you shake it, it is really good. And I was not disappointed in that either. I thought it would ruin how I listened to that record, and it did not. It just made me appreciate it in a whole new way.
Brought it to another dimension, really.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
There's no end to the lengths I'll go to, hunting high and low.
We're going backwards. Is that 4?
Yeah, sorry. Where are we?
We're in 85. That was number 4. Because I have 3 left.
Yes, that's true. I was just counting because, it's right. Number 4. This is Criticality, Cupid and Psyche, 85.
That's a good one.
I couldn't leave this one out. Another one that I fell in love with in 1985, Criticality. I never heard anything like this at this point in time. It was a very, like I said, a very unique sound, not only because of Green's voice, but the whole production with samplers being utilized in a way I never heard before. And it was all good. And the funny thing with Criticality is, because this is how they portrayed themselves on the inner sleeve. Just a couple of years earlier, they were basically, I think this is a quote from some music mag here in the UK, where a journalist said that they abandoned Marx and started worshipping Rita Franklin instead. So, they were truly in the yuppie era here, and it was truly a transformation for Criticality as well. But to be honest, I never heard of Criticality before this one. I didn't know that they had a history, but what an album.
And that's one of those where I probably would have thought that was their debut, like that they would have never, they hadn't done anything else. I didn't know anything else about them besides that record. And
no.
I was
were they big in the States?
The single was really big. I remember that kind of getting a lot of rotation, but I sort of feel afterwards that I don't recall them being a very dominant voice. You know, it would not surprise me if people didn't lump them in like a one-hit wonder kind of category.
Probably.
And
And
Aha, too. So.
Yeah, exactly. With Aha as well. Yeah. And was that would be the single Aretha Franklin, or was it Perfect Way, Hypnotize?
Perfect Way.
Absolute. Yeah. They had so many singles.
That was the one. Perfect Way was the one. The first one I ever heard. Yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine. That was a big one here as well.
And I can't remember if it was on college radio. I grew up in a college town, so we had college radio, which was really lucky for me. And I can't remember if I heard it there first and then it got normal airplay or not. But I always felt like because of the university, we stayed a little more in tune with what was happening instead of being 5 years behind.
That's good.
Yeah, for sure.
You took charge of the...
All right, so this is my third, down to number 3. This is hard because I could rank this one. My final 3, I really could. They rotate all the time. I remember getting this record. I remember seeing it on the wall. Talk about being grateful for college radio. Like I would have never have known about this band probably without that and the Young Ones, because they appeared on the Young Ones too. But like madness. Oh my gosh, this is my favorite. It's The Damned, Phantasmagoria.
Yeah.
I absolutely, oh my gosh, I love this album so much. I cannot say enough good things about this record. And it's like a gateway drug to The Damned. I think it's perfect. Although I will say, I think this was the first record maybe without Captain Sensible. They did 2 without him when he went off to do his, hey, Captain, hey, whatever. But yeah, this is, oh my gosh. I have it on, my original copy was on CD. I got this as a gift for Christmas. It's an original, but it's not my original. But boy, I wish it was. It's mine now. But yeah, I mean, Street of Dreams, Shadow of Love, Grimly Fiendish. It's, oh my gosh, so good.
That's where I discovered The Damned as well. Probably could have been in 1985 as well, but it was with Grimly Fiendish. Great song. Yeah,
and it's funny, that which Dead or Alive album cover I always feel is a direct.
Yes.
Yeah.
What is the name of it? I can't remember it now, but I know exactly what you meant.
Worst fan ever. Yeah, it's just like because I remember I would describe the album cover and someone would go, "Oh, the one from Dead or Alive," and I'm like, "No, it's The Damned."
Exactly. But now when you say it, because when you just pulled it up, I had something else in my mind, and it must have been Dead or Alive because it was like that gut reaction. I was like, "Oh no, wait, it's The Damned."
Nope. It's The Damned. And I do believe that's Dave Vanian's wife, I thought, on the front, but I could be wrong.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. But perfect. I just think it's the perfect damn record.
Damned record, yeah.
There it is. And dangerous to know.
There it is. Yes, that is the one I thought about.
I mean, heavens mercy. I mean, really?
Yeah, someone's got inspired.
Yeah. And we know this one came out later because of the record that came out this year that I didn't choose. I wanted to choose from Dead or Alive. That was one I did not put in my list, was Youthquake, but they must have been copying.
Okay, so my number 3. Oh God, I hit the microphone here. My number 3 happened to be Mrs. Kate Bush.
Yes, she was on my list. Oh my gosh, I've got her up there.
I saw the album earlier and I was like, okay, it's not on her list. So we don't have any overlaps so far.
No.
But I have to include this one. I think this is the point where I discovered Kate Bush as well.
Yeah.
It was actually with the single Hounds of Love. And you know what really drew me into that one? It's a sample in the beginning.
It's in the trees. It's coming.
Yeah.
I love that. It's from The Night of the Demon, 50s movie.
It's in the trees. It's coming. The demon!
I didn't know that at the time, but I love that one. I was like, it's so dramatic, and I never heard anything like this before with the drums, you know, and the drama and all that. So it led me to then buy Running Up the Hill, of course, and I love that one, and that led me to this album. So, yeah.
That one has cloud bursting on it, right?
Sorry?
Is it cloud bursting?
Yeah, cloud bursting.
And that 12-inch single for that song, the remix is so good. Like, I love that.
The album I'm holding in my hand, I actually had it on CD to begin with, and I still have the CD back here. Yeah. This is a reissue from 2020, I think it was released. So it's released on Fish People, I think the label is called.
Yes.
If you can see it.
EMI, yeah.
And they, with the Big Sky, they included the 7 mix on the new remastered ones. So you won't get the album version anymore if you buy this.
Yeah.
Which is really weird. I like the 7-inch mix, but I would love to have the album mix. Fortunately, I still have my original CD, so I can still listen to it.
Yeah.
But it's
that's kind of weird. I wonder why she chose not to do that.
Yeah, but perhaps she prefers that intro because it's more or less the intro that is different because it's more stripped down with just her voice and some instrumentation in the background. It's not as sudden as the album mix, I think. But wow, what an album. And I have to say, I went to see one of her shows that she had in London at the time. So when I saw it was announced, I was there straight away. I waited in line online for hours before I got hold of tickets, but I eventually got a ticket to go and see her. And the thing was, I avoided everything online from that point on because I didn't want to know because this was, I think was it the last concert that I went to? It must be. Yeah, so I got because she put in 2 extra dates or something like that. So I got the tickets for that. And I avoided everything online because I didn't want to know what she was playing. So in my mind, it could be everything from a greatest hits concert. Yeah. But at the same time, I knew it's Kate Bush. She's going to do something theatrical. So I didn't know. And I remember when I stood in queue just before the concert, and a guy came up to me and said, I've seen this concert 3 times already. And I was like, wow. And he said, do you want to know what she's playing? I said, no. He said, fair play, but you will be blown away. And of course, she started out the whole concert by doing Running Up the Hill, and she did King of the Mountain. Yeah, you know, some of these hits that she had. And then the second act, because this was like a theater experience, is she went into the Ninth Wave, which is, of course, the B-side here. The whole of Ninth Wave. And it was a theater experience. The third part of it was Ariel, and it was the second disc if you have the CD like I do. I also have it on vinyl, of course, but it's, so she did the whole thing.
I've got a live box set for her. That wasn't from that. Was that concert? Yeah,
it was Before the Dawn, it's called.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
And the reason I bring it up here is, of course, it's connected to Hounds of Love because she did the whole Ninth Wave. And I get goosebumps every time I listen to that album, Hounds of Love. Yeah. It's still so close to my heart, that album.
It was hard for me not to choose that one, but I ended up going with ones that I played more than that one. Yeah. And but that was That was a real good one.
Yeah,
It's hard
and
not to
I have
put
to
it on
say, this is usually what I went for when I went back and forth with this list, because I was like, well, Hounds of Love is such an obvious one, but at the same time, I love it, and I played it
Yeah.
so much throughout the year, so that's
Yeah.
why I went.
Here I go, calling for me through the trees. Oh, help me, someone, help me, please.
Okay, so these last two were really hard. And I will say
Yes.
this. So my number 2 album was my number 1 album, then back to number 2. This album, I love this band so much. And this is a perfect album to me by them. And it is Head on the Door by The Cure.
Yeah, The Cure.
I just absolutely, every song on here, and on the last, I think A Night Like This and Sinking, The Blood, I think I had multiple Army bags where I had painted the lyrics to The Blood on them, you know, like
Wow.
oh my God. I love everything about this record. This is my copy. I got it. I think I bought my boyfriend that year a Black Flag record, and he got me the Cure record. And I just, oh my gosh, I can't think enough. I like Cure later, but I feel like the beginning of The Cure, 4 17 seconds, Pornography, and Head on the Door are like what I want The Cure to sound like all the time. And their latest album to me went back to that kind of sound. And it's just, I think this is a perfect Cure album. I can't think of anything wrong with it.
I always imagine, and I know we talked about this before, but when we saw college movies back in the 80s, it was always the weird kids listening to The Cure, the Smiths, and things like that. Was that really the case?
I think so. And what I would like to believe is that the people who gave me grief for listening to The Cure were closet Cure fans. I mean, the one thing that might have been different was when someone told me, you can't listen to that, you should listen to Van Halen. I'm like, well, I do listen to Van Halen, but I just prefer this. Like, they could never admit it, right? But I do. I always felt my high school career was a little bit like a Ferris Bueller's Day Off movie. You know?
Exactly.
You had a name, you had a label, if you were in the art department, you were something. If you were into sports, you were called something else. And so, yeah, absolutely. And The Cure would definitely put the pen in it as we were alternative girls. That was
exactly alternative girls. Okay, yeah, that's a good one.
And when you looked for The Cure, you found them in the alternative music section. It was not. There was a whole section which basically was like British punk and British music, new wave music, and there was pop and rock, and then alternative. So if you wanted The Cure, The Damned, Bauhaus, any of that, that's where you found it.
We'll put it in the corner. It's alternative.
Kind of, yeah. And like I said, the only plus was that I was in a college town, and so there was a lot of international students and people wanting that stuff. And eventually, in a few years, I got to work in a record store and got to order things that I wanted.
Exactly.
For request and it just so good. I think my oh gosh, is this it? You'll like this. This is from my bedroom wall as a teenager.
Wow.
Yeah. So that was hanging out
really
there. 1985, whatever.
Yeah.
I think that was the cover for In Between Days, I think, on the single from this record.
Exactly. And they had the video as well with the neon or the black light thing.
I have this out only because I've been trying to find a frame for it because I want to put it up, and it is well loved, but oh my gosh, so good.
you have to frame that one.
Yeah.
And thank you for clarifying our preconceived conception about weird people listening to weird music from Europe.
Oh yeah, I got a free pass. I think like sometimes they would give you like most likely to do something in school, and I had a few most likelies, and one of them was like weird music and travel to Europe or not stay in the United States.
Yeah. But it's remarkable, but a really good choice, I think. Another one that I need to listen through altogether, because I have to be honest, I never listened to this whole album. So.
Oh, it's so good. I just can't. I mean, In Between Days is a great song, but again, like, and listening to them, the beauty of vinyl, you listen to it in order, and everything flows from one to the other. And, but man, side 2 is just, I don't know, A Night Like This. And then Sinking is the very last song. And I can't even, it's perfect. I think it's just perfect.
Yeah. I made a list here during our talks here, so that's good. But I think
I told you I always have to take notes when we talk. You always give me more homework. So I take it that one's not on your one of your final 2.
No, it's not. To be honest, I always appreciated The Cure, and I love a lot of their songs. But I had a friend of mine, a very good friend, who was more of a Cure fan than me. But I absolutely always loved listening to The Cure. And Disintegration, I think that's where I started to understand the greatness. So I need to go back now and listen to the rest.
I think so. I mean, to me, early Cure, anything from Head on the Door Back, even Three Imaginary Boys is, I mean, their cover of Foxy Lady, and they have a song on there called Meat Hook. And I don't know. I think it's great.
I didn't even know this. It got me even more intrigued.
Yep. There you go.
I need to listen to him.
If you like dark, moodier, and someone always said The Cure's so moody, I'm like, I feel they're way more poppy later on. I mean, Disintegration still had that hold, that very goth sound. But they, would ebb and flow. And I like darker Cure. So their new album was a great departure from what I thought was pop. And to me, harken back to this very kind of sound that I love so much. So.
Go on, just walk away. Go on, your choice is made. Go on, and disappear. Go on, away from here.
Okay, so welcome to my number 2 record. Yeah. And now it's a Swedish artist.
Yeah.
This is someone I mentioned here a couple of times before, but I think it was in my early videos when I started this channel. This is Virna Lint. Virna, by the way, is not typically Swedish. I don't think I ever heard that before. Lint sounds more Swiss or Austrian, but she is from Sweden. And I wish I discovered her in the 80s, but this was just a couple of years ago. By chance, I came across a track with Virna Lint on YouTube. And I was like, what is this? This sounds really, really good. So I looked her up. Oh, she's from Sweden, but she was signed to a UK label called the Compact Organization. And it was run by Todd Taylor, I think his name is, if I'm not misremembering things. And Mary Wilson was on that label. That name was familiar to me. I know Mary Wilson, but I never reflected she was on something called Compact Organization. But Virna Lint on the Compact Organization released their very first single, if I'm not mistaken, which was called... I lost it now. Oh, goodness. This is an editing moment now. So the first single was called Attention Stockholm. I don't know what happened to my brain there. But yeah, that's a wonderful single. A bit, you can't really place it in a specific category of music. It sounds like it was made for a thriller or an James Bond movie from the 60s, really. But at the same time, it's got that post-punk feel to it. Yeah, it's really weird. So anyhow, I believe this is her second album. The previous one was called Shiver. This one is called Play Record and was released in 1985. So when I just discovered Verna Lind a couple of years ago, I came across this one before I came across her first album. And this is mind-bending stuff. It's and get prepared for this. It's new wave, pop, lounge music, jazz, spoken word. It's got all of it.
Everything.
And it sounds like it's a complete mess, but it's not. The whole thing just works so well. And ever since I bought this one, it became one of my favorite albums of all time, I have to say. So if we were to do best albums of all time, this would surely be in this list. Wow. It's such a great album. And once again, magical. Absolutely magical. And with Verna Lind, she still does music. She has released records from time to time the last couple of years. And just last year, because I had that on my best of list at the end of the year, it was a Verna Lind single that was released in October or November last year. And she's been teasing a new album for ages now, it seems. And on that single, it actually states, taken from the upcoming album, Dornau. So I'm still waiting patiently for a new Verna Lind album, because that new single was outstanding as well. She's better than ever.
Is her album in English or is it in Swedish?
Yeah, no, it's English. Absolutely, all in English. She does do some spoken word in Swedish from time to time in some of them, but it's more for effect, really.
Yeah.
So
you think of all the people making music always, but you think of 85 and all the things that you listen to that I mean, just stuff I've never, that's crazy.
Yeah, isn't it?
How much is out there that's untapped, like things to discover still.
I am really curious now, I have to say.
Who do you think? Do you have a guess?
We've done that and we've done that one. Could we have a crossover?
Maybe. I don't know.
I don't know, because we talked about Prince before, but I'm not sure. No, it's not Prince. No, I can't really. No.
And honestly, I thought maybe Prince would have been your top pick. So I know now that's not true.
No.
This record to me screams 85. It screams the 80s. I love it from start to finish. I can't not listen to it. The nostalgia is overwhelming for me on this record. I like everything about it. And it is Songs from the Big Chair.
Of course. Yes. Songs from a Big Chair.
This is like so 80s to me. I cannot think of, Shout is great, of course. Yeah. But and I think everybody wants, those classic singles were wonderful, but to me, like Mother's Talk is just so good. And how it bleeds from one to the, talk about an album you have to listen to start to finish. Like it is such a vibe all the way through and is so well done. It blows me away every time I listen to it. I love it.
I should have guessed that one. I was like, but my head was so filled of titles. So I looked down here on my list as well, because I wrote things down. I was like, no, but it was on here. It's here. Yeah, so I should have, But what a great album, really. Just like you said, goes from Shout, and then all of a sudden we got that light-hearted, everybody wants to rule the world in the middle of it, right? So
and then you leave that into Mother's Talk, and then Mother's Talk goes into I Believe, and it almost seems like one whole song. And then when you get Broken, that flows into Head Over Heels, and you're just like, oh my God. Like there's parts in it like where you hear like a crowd cheering, and it's just, oh my Lord. And like the louder I play it, the better. Like this is one I want loud all the time.
Exactly. And you just mentioned Head Over Heels as well. I forgot it was on that album.
Yeah. It's got everything. It's so
got
good.
everything. Really, really good pick, I have to say.
Thank you. I
that's a
would
good
think
one.
Aha is so 80s, but man, I mean, even their hair, I mean, look at that cover.
Yeah.
And it just, I don't know. It's just perfect. And it wasn't, I think it just had a plastic insert on the inside. It wasn't anything fancy. This is my copy.
Okay.
I'm surprised it's not more beat up than it is at the amount that I played this sucker, but it's the minute I started.
In great condition.
Thank you. Yeah, it is. I think I did okay, but man, did I listen to it all the time. Like,
Yeah.
and I would just drop the needle on Broken probably. I mean, it's just, wow. I don't know. I can hear it in my
Good
head
stuff.
right now. Yeah. So good. So that's,
Yeah.
and I think that will always be a top pick for me.
Well, for my top pick, like I said, they're all very dear and near to me, these albums that I presented, but this one is probably the one I played the most.
Yeah.
And I didn't buy it until 1987, so it was 2 years after the fact. But it's Suzanne Vega's debut album.
Suzanne Vega. She's in your wheelhouse now.
Yeah. So, of course, I have to. I don't have this one on vinyl, actually. I have most of the other ones, but it doesn't matter. So many good, from the opening track, Crackin', to A Neighborhood Girls, which is the last track on it. It just flows so well, and just a dreamy record with fantastic lyrics. I already spoke in length about Suzanne Vega in my recent review of her new album, so I won't keep you too long on this, but thank you.
Yeah. Again, just when you think you know about somebody, and then I listen to you talk about her, and I think about her and her music in a completely different way.
That's good, because
she is more than Luca.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Because that's usually, if I love something, I want to talk about it and say, listen, there are other aspects of this artist. And you're absolutely right, there are. So this one, of course, there are many fan favorites on this one. I know she still plays quite a lot of these songs live still in her live sets, especially The Queen and the Soldier, which was one of my favorites as well.
Yeah.
And Small Blue Thing as well. Yeah, I can. All of them are really good.
All of them are good.
Yeah.
Today I am a small blue thing, made of china, made of glass.
Yeah, that's a very good list. And I cannot believe we didn't overlap. We almost did with Kate Bush. Almost.
Yeah. But I thought there were going to be more, but that just goes to show what a great year 1985 was when it comes to album releases as well, because there was so much things happening in the music world. And I can see you through the album that I see on your back wall there. You got Talking Heads, for example, Little Creatures, that was nice. Eurythmics, of course, great album. I had that on the list as well. And Mötley Crüe, I can't say anything about that because I never heard that one. But I know it's an iconic album, right, from Mötley Crüe.
And I would say for Midwest, that was probably my get out of jail free card, right? Like if people didn't like me listening to The Cure, I'd be like, well, I own Theater of Pain.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, The Cold Love, I mean, that was, oh my gosh, that's pretty iconic. I really, Youthquake, Dead or Alive, that was hard. That was on and off my list, back and forth for sure.
And I love the Miami Vice album.
Oh, I think that is a great record. And it literally, I mean, really what screams 80s more than Miami Vice, right?
Exactly.
The Robert Palmer album was fantastic. I'm a huge Rush fan. I listen to that album all the time. But the ones I picked really, like, I remember the sense of urgency to get those, how excited I was to have them, how absolutely, I don't want to say elitist, but, I'd be like, well, I have that record, What do you mean you don't have the Smiths? What do you mean,
I do have just a handful of honourable mentions, so I won't talk about them. I will just list them. And I don't know if you also have a couple of honourable mentions you want to say.
Yeah.
But I'll start out because I wrote it down here. Honourable mentions, it says in big letters. Aha, Hunting High and Low. That was, And all of these honourable mentions were the ones I was fighting on. I will want them here, but we will only do 10 of them. Then I got Yellow with Stella.
Oh, yes.
The album that they released that year, a great one. The Style Council, Our Favorite Shop, another great album. Love that one. Record. Grace Jones, Slave to the Rhythm. That's the other one. Yeah. And Arcadia, So Red the Rose. And we already talked about that. Yeah, it was fighting, it was battling. And then I had Cabaret Voltaire and the excellent album, The Covenant, the Sword and the Arm of the Lord. Yeah, it's an album I listened quite a lot to throughout the years. But
super good. Yeah,
from the electronica perspective, the more industrial aspect, I have to mention Cabaret Voltaire.
Oh, yeah. No, that was a good one. And I put a lot of behind me, but the ones that I really I wanted to pick and I couldn't would have been Dead or Alive, Youthquake, Robert Palmer's Riptide, Kate Bush, Hounds of Love. And I think that was really my top. Oh, The Cult. I think The Cult Love. But those first three were really the hard ones for me not to include because they were pretty near and dear to my heart. So,
and I can't believe that the Whitney Houston album was also released in 1985.
Yeah, right.
To me, because if you were to ask me before this episode, when were her first album released, I would say 87.
Yes.
But, that just goes to show how good internet is for me remembering things, really.
Well. And thank goodness Discogs puts them in year order because there were some records I thought for sure I bought in 85, but the single came out in 85, or the album came out in 85. The single might have been out the year before or the year after, but I was convinced Frankie Goes to Hollywood was an 85 record.
Exactly. But no, it was late 84. So,
It was no Depeche Mode that I can think of released that year. That surprised me. I'm like, Depeche Mode, slam dunk, right? No.
Exactly. But no, they already released Some Great Reward, of course, the year before. So they were touring. So, it's all that. Yeah. So they did release a couple of singles in 85, but hey, that's another show.
Yeah, exactly. And I thought Talk Talk was on an 85 list, but I think I was a year too late. I think their album I'm thinking of was before.
You know, I did this massive list here with other notable releases that I could catch.
Is it on there?
No, there's no talk on that. But they do have... Yeah, I wrote down Whitney Houston. I had Brian Ferry's Boys and Girls, of course, Talking Heads. Sting released The Dream of Blue Turtles. It's his first solo record, right?
And I listened to that all the time. I did, and I did not have that on my...
No.
I just, I think I was still bitter that the Police weren't together.
Because they broke up.
I'm a Police fan, so I was like,
exactly.
Solo project, whatever.
And the music he released wasn't really anything akin to what they did in the Police, really. It was a bit different, more popular stuff. So
and I was definitely I am a Stuart Copeland fan. So getting Sting is all well and good, but I really I am.
Some other notable releases. I'm just going to make this video even longer than it already is, but I have to mention them because another one that was really battling with me as well was Miami Sound Machine's Primitive Love, which also came out in 1985. I'm a huge Gloria Estefan fan. Yeah. And then we had Sandra with The Long Play, and I don't think it really made a mark in the States. Sandra released... what you would probably consider a one-hit wonder kind of thing, Maria Magdalena.
I barely, if they played that anywhere, it's like a blip. I may know of it now because I just learned later, but at the time, I don't think
No,
No.
I think it was very European phenomenon.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
yeah.
then we had, Thompson Twins, Here's to the Future Days.
That's right. And I kept mixing that album up. I thought it was a different album, but they would definitely be one that should be of note.
Yeah, absolutely. But that's the reason I'm mentioning is just to make people understand how hard this was. Howard Jones, Dream into Action. Yeah, that's another one. His second album. Here's another one. It was a big one, so I have to mention it. It's not one of my favorites. It's Dire Straits, Brothers in Arms.
I was thinking of that too. It's my husband's favorite, and another episode for the future. Albums that were ruined for me by their single. Walk of Life is not I could care less, and I really stopped listening to that song because I just didn't like that album. Yeah, the album is totally ruined by that song.
Yeah, and it was everywhere that year. It was in commercials. It was on MTV. It was everywhere. It was just Dire Straits all the way. But I have to say, the title track, Brothers in Arms, is actually still a really good track. But it's probably the only one from that album that I really appreciate.
Yeah.
I had The Damned here, of course. Very good. With Phantasmagoria. And ABC released How to Be a Zillionaire.
That's right.
Which is actually an underrated album, I would think, from ABC. It's a really good one. The Cure, Head on the Door, I also had here. So, Men at Work, Two Hearts, which I know they are considered a one-hit wonder as well in a lot of places around the world.
But they're still going strong, aren't they?
Yes. I think they're still doing shows and things like that. I'm not sure, but I think so.
And Colin Hay, is that right?
Yes, I believe that's his name, yeah.
He's out on his own, right? And does like solo shows and
exactly,
things. Super good.
So it's good. Yeah, and I think that's basically there is more, of course. Phil Collins, No Jacket Required, which was a huge one with Susudio. And
and that's one too. I won a copy of that record from a radio station, and I was so excited to get it. And then I heard Studio so many times, I still now I don't even pull that one out.
Oh, really? I still love Studio. Yeah, but I do understand it. Absolutely. It was overplayed. Do you have anything else you want to mention around 85 or albums that we talked about?
I feel like we've touched on a lot. I think there's probably a lot to uncover, things to discover. In my list alone, I had 2 albums that had hidden songs on them. It makes me wonder if any other albums from the 80s had hidden tracks that, we aren't aware of. All that kind of stuff. It's funny too. I feel like the 80s was also a time of sort of pared down album covers and inserts. You come off of the 70s with albums that had the big gatefolds and the intricate sleeves on the inside, and then you get a song like an album like this that didn't have anything but a plastic sleeve, or all your info was on the back and that was it. So everything kind of obviously was changing, and it was a great time to be a music lover, that's for sure. But I'm sure there's a lot of odd stories out there to find.
There sure is. And it would be interesting to do some kind of a follow-up. Perhaps not necessarily on 1985, but we have so much music to talk about.
Absolutely. Yeah. We'll never get bored.
But I think that's a good idea. Hidden tracks.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But I want to thank you so much, Jen, for being here on my channel and talking in length about albums from 1985. It's been really, really good.
It's been a ton of fun. I've been looking forward to this since 1985.
Yeah, we've been waiting ever since.
The last couple of weeks when we planned it anyway.
Yeah, no, it's been great fun as ever, and we're going to be back for sure if you want to.
Always. I'm excited. I'm ready to go.
And to you guys watching, if you haven't checked out Jen's channel, do that straight away, or after this video at least. And all of that. So I'll be back soon, and Jen too, on her channel, and we'll be visiting each other from time to time and talk more 80s music, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But until then, you all take care of yourself. And are you ready, Jen? As usual, a big
Ayo.
aye.